Hi, I'm Gemma, and this is a chat with Gemma. So, boredom. Is it possibly a killer? So we hear about celebrities a lot in particular, don't we? Because we don't hear about people who are not celebrities because nobody knows who they are, and so the media doesn't bother with them. But it seems like celebrities can get into a lot of trouble with boredom. So, by celebrities, of course, I don't just mean actors and actresses, I mean sports people, uh, reality TV people, all sorts of people that, for whatever reason, get microphones stuck in front of them and photographed a lot. So, I remember watching TMZ, which we don't get here in Australia anymore, at least on free TV, which is all I watch. But I used to enjoy watching it. And the guy on that who owns it is called Harvey something, and I can't remember his surname. And he was talking about Brad Pitt. And it was quite interesting because obviously Harvey's got this knowledge of what the lifestyles of these people are like. And he was talking about how acting, I think Brad Pitt must have got himself into some sort of trouble, smoking marijuana and getting drunk and whatever else. But I don't really remember what it was about. But he was just saying that even the Brad Pitts of the world don't just have movie after movie after movie. There's not chain movies. And that they can go quite long periods of time without making a movie. And I was kind of surprised because I suppose us ordinary folk do kind of think that these people, there's so much in demand that don't they just get their next movie straight away because, they're Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie or whoever they are. And it seems like there are a lot of, they're in a lot of movies, but it's not quite like that. They can have maybe 2 years go and then, then the next movie comes along. And I remember even, what is her name? The goat. Don't get old, folks. Anyway, it'll come to me. Meryl Streep. I remember Meryl Streep saying that, pretty confident she's not watching, but Meryl Streep was saying that she, after every movie, she's always thought she would never get another job. So that's Meryl, the Meryl Streeps of the world think that way. So they have these periods of having nothing to do. And it's the same in sports too, isn't it, where these professional players that get paid a lot of money, so you can have these, they're men, aren't they? They can have a really big salary, which in itself I think might be a bit of a problem. But they have this extreme excitement going on during the season, and then the season's over and they've got kind of time to fill. And so a lot of these people that are these various kinds of celebrities, unless they have things in their lives that they do apart from the thing that makes them a celebrity, I think they can be in big trouble during these down times, which they are inevitably going to have. So I remember somebody saying that she was married to this racing driver, and he wasn't a celebrity, I don't believe. And she said that he just loved racing his cars, and it would be, systems go, and then the day would come, he'd do his racing, and then the next day he would be like in this utter depression. So he didn't know what to do with himself. And you have, excuse me, in Australia, we have Aussie rules football, and you have kids of 15 who think about nothing else. That's their aim in life, is to get into the AFL to play professional football, and they're not learning to knit or do watercolour paintings or horticultural, whatever it is. They don't have other things that are tasks that can be meaningful and, that they can get absorbed into during these times. So they can be really at a loss. And so, as a result of that, a lot of these various kinds of celebrities go into illegal drugs or alcohol or both. And, you can kind of think, what an idiot. But without wanting to sympathise with people, you can kind of see how it happens. They have money, so they've got money with which they can buy whatever they want, and the places they spend their time and the people they spend time with can be the wrong sort of people, of course. And so they're young, and so they don't have any strategies whatsoever for dealing with the sorts of pressures that are put on by these other people to do what they're all doing, which is to damage their own brains, give themselves brain damage. If you're a young person, one of the best gifts you have is, I can tell you as an old person with an old brain, is a young, well-functioning brain. To deliberately give yourself brain damage, why would you do that? Don't do that. So this is what they do though. And I think it comes back, and of course a lot of people, particularly in America, die. You can just, it's countless. There are just so many stories of, musicians and actors and whatever else. And I think a lot of it comes down to this I think there's a contrast between the excitement and downtimes, in that I'm not so important anymore, so there's that kind of aspect to it as well. But I think just not having anything to do, that boredom, is not good. So we need other things in our lives. We need to have other skills that we've learned, so that, I've just taught myself to do peyote stitch. Boy, was that hard. That was not easy. And, I had to fiddle with. But now I can do it, and I'm not having to go back so much and undo it because I made a mistake. And doing it, I'm really finding it relaxing and enjoyable. And, you watch something, a bracelet getting created or whatever. So there's a lot of satisfaction to be had, and relaxation, enjoyment, and meaning to be had out of various kinds of crafts or all sorts of tasks that you might get into. So I think it's really good for us if we can have a way of combating boredom. Now, I did hear a gentleman on the radio once saying, I think kids should be bored. It's good for kids to be bored. Now, I don't quite agree with that, because I think boredom is a suffering. So to let kids be bored, that's not quite what I would say. I think he might have I think I know what he was thinking, and he probably just didn't word it the right way, but I think what he was trying to say, that kids need to be able to spend time not being so busy. So put the tablets away, the phones away, whatever, and just be able to be unbusy. I remember once I'm a task-oriented person, so this is something I've done for decades and decades, and it's, I live alone. I don't have many friends, so, one of my biggest fears has always been to be bored. So I've always packed lots of things in. I have a lot of things that I do, crafts and painting and writing and music and all of that stuff. So I've always got jobs to do. I've always got projects in mind that I can't get to because there's just too many of them, and I don't have enough time to get to them. So, that kind of equilibrium is how I stay sane, if I am. But that gives me a certain degree of happiness to just have that balance where I'm not too overwhelmingly busy, but I've just got enough things that I really enjoy doing. But I'm not so good at the just doing nothing things. I had to go on this. I do surveys for literally a few cents, and I started that when I lost my job and blah blah blah. Didn't need to know all that, and so normally just doing them on the computer and answering questions. But this time they wanted me to go to the zoo, and I can't even remember now. It was something like looking at these displays that were in the zoo, and seeing what I thought of them, something along those lines. And so it was nice, they paid for me to go to the zoo. And I packed lightly, so I didn't kind of, I didn't take a tablet. I didn't have a tablet at that time. I didn't take my computer or anything like, because I knew I'd be walking around the whole zoo, and didn't want to get sore feet and sore knees and back and whatever. So I packed lightly, and then I'd finished this task, so I thought, I'm still at the zoo, might as well enjoy the zoo. And I thought I'll stop and have a coffee. So I had this, lovely cappuccino, and it was a lovely day. It was a beautiful weather, blue sky, and this little coffee place sort of had a roof to it, but it had just sticks like this, so it's kind of, I suppose, in a jungle kind of theme. And so you were in the fresh air, basically outside but protected from the sun, and it was just really nice sort of being outside and having this coffee. And in those days I didn't use, because I'm a long-sighted person. I can't understand people who use their mobile phones for stuff, so it wouldn't have occurred to me to do anything on the phone. And so I sat down, and I was near the giraffe enclosure, and I thought, I've got to drink this whole, and I'm a very slow drinker, slow eater. I've got to drink this whole coffee from the top to the bottom, and oh no, I don't have my computer with me. What am I going to do? And so I had no choice but to just sit there and stare. So I thought, I'll just watch the giraffes. And, there was a lot of people. So I like being surrounded by people. A lot of people, with a baby on the back and another baby down there, little couples and young couples, and passing through and looking at the giraffes and moving on. So I just sort of watched them and sipping on this cappuccino, and this profound feeling of relaxation, enjoyment, feeling just, I feel safer when I'm with just nice ordinary people. Safety, just this lovely feeling came over me. And I just sat there and stared and stared and stayed in this relaxed moment. And have I ever done that again? Should I ever do that again? Yeah. Look, I have occasionally sat by a river and just made myself sit and stare at the river, and it's the same thing when you watch water going past. I don't know, it's just very entertaining. And I find that really good for my soul as well. But I think children need not to be bored, but actually not to be bored, to be in a situation where another person could be bored, but they don't get bored because they're able to feel happy. They're able to find a way to just enjoy it, to relax. It's a skill, like other skills, it really is. So, anyway, would this video help anybody? I hope so. Maybe not. But anyway, I hope you're well. I hope you're not bored or lonely or anything negative. God bless, and bye for now.